All right, so welcome to everyone who has joined. We're here for another session of Powering Up Your Practice. We're talking about niche marketing. If you missed last week or the week or the last session or the session prior to that, you missed some great content on how to ask better questions, how to use those questions to present your recommendations and craft stronger overall presentations. And then even 3 sessions ago, we talked about referrals. If you missed those, go back, log on to the IAD YouTube page. They're all on there. They've got a fun logo, whether it's the superhero or just my smiling mug looking at you. Take a look at those. Great content. We see a lot of success with it. Want to make sure you get that. I'm joining you today from a little bit of a different background. I'm on vacation, a little bit closer to the neck of the woods where Bernard is at. I am talking about deepening with niche markets. We always start these things the same way. If you haven't had a chance to meet me, see me, and listen to what we've got, look, the whole goal around my firm and why I exist and why I have a job is to help financial professionals create a better practice and a better life. If your practice is running smoothly, if your practice is firing on all cylinders, chances are your life is going really well too. Your work-life balance is solid. You're focused on the things that energize you, and you don't have that drain where at the end of the day, you're feeling totally worn out because you are firing and working on the things that you do best. Look, I've been doing this a long time. We work with a lot of practices around the country. We throw these stats up every time, but what really matters out of this is we've got advisors that have $8 billion under management that we coach. We have advisors that are doing a couple 100,000 of revenue. We've got the whole gambit of practice sizes, from huge, mega giant practices to, your single owner operator. What I'll say is all the practices we work with started little and they grew. So what we've been able to do is we take the best practices that worked for them and we bring it to you. So if you're out there wondering, what do I do? What works? There's 100 different books I could read that gives me 150 different ways to attack this. The things that I'm telling you is exactly what we use with some of these giant firms. We just did it 5 years ago. So they're a little ahead of the game. So if you're wondering what works, how to do this, what we're bringing to you now, Bernard and I have partnered to figure out the exact right things so you don't have to kind of climb through the clutter of all that's out there. But I'm going to say this. We touch on this slide each time: beliefs, behaviors, and results. If you have some self-limiting beliefs, those are the biggest danger for anyone in this industry. Look, being a financial professional is not easy, but it's not super complicated. There are pretty set standard playbooks of things to do to be successful. Now, as I said, the flip side is it's not easy to do that because we have self-limiting beliefs. We have things that get in the way. We have that voice that tells us, hey, that's not going to work. I tried that before. I don't think they're going to like that. We start putting those things in front of us and we immediately limit the growth that we have. I know it personally because I still have many of my own. I have 3 coaches that I work with on an ongoing basis, and one of them is specifically around helping me get through, recognize, and resolve some self-limiting beliefs. So as we go through this, if you recognize you're having some of those thoughts, you're having some of those self-limiting beliefs, write it down, take note. You want to acknowledge that it exists, and then think about reaching out to Bernard, reach out to myself, reach out to one of your IAD internal wholesalers where, start talking about this. You're never going to get over it if you don't start finding ways to tell yourself a different story. Your beliefs will drive your behaviors. Self-limiting beliefs will limit the number of behaviors that you do, which in turn limits your results. When all of these things on the triangle are aligned, that's when you're going to get into that flow. And that's when you're going to have that level of success that you've always been looking for. So be aware of those self-limiting behavior or those self-limiting beliefs as we go through this, because niche marketing is one that this comes up a lot around self-limiting beliefs. And to be honest, a lot of it is projection. So we'll talk about that. I say we focus on it every time because those 3 slides, the ones we just went through, are exactly what we talk about. When we start thinking about niche marketing and developing your target and where you want to go, keep thinking about how is your value going to outweigh any price? How are you going to bring the value where price is no longer an option? So going into niche marketing, that's what we're here for. That's what we're talking about. First and foremost, why? If you're here, you probably don't need a big dive on this, but I'll do a quick review. Number one is, if you've got a target market, it allows you to scale incredibly effectively. If I know that when I work with, firefighters from this station, this is the process we go through. This is the considerations I need. You can create the template where you can plug and play, and the onboarding of one person or onboarding of 10, it's the same process. So your scalability grows really, really fast. The second thing is it allows you to be really effective at marketing. Look, I use an example around fishing, right? So I love to go fishing. I go fishing. I was fishing last weekend. I'd be fishing this weekend if I wasn't here in Door County. So what I do though is I love to fish for bass. And that's a species I love to go for. Last week though, I wanted to go for northern pike, much bigger, longer fish. Now, if I go fishing and I want to catch that specific type of fish, I really have a couple options. One, I can maybe try and throw a net out and pull in whatever fish I see. Now, if I throw a net out, I'm going to get maybe one of the fish that I want, but I'm probably going to get a lot more fish that I don't want. And as I try to bring them onto the boat, I'm going to be overwhelmed. I'm going to give the fish a bad experience, and I may not even get the kind that I want. And while I'm going through this, trying to manage all of these fish coming on this net, it's just not going to be an effective way of managing my time, my energy, and trying to get the fish that I want. Instead, what do? You look for specifically what kind of lures or what kind of bait does that fish want. When you develop a target market in a niche, you can start to identify what do you want to do to specifically market to them. If you market to everyone, you will always get the middle level client. That's just the way that it goes. If you market to everyone, you're going to end up going with the middle. If you market to top people, you will begin to attract top people. You've got to figure out how to do that first, and where the big key is and how to develop that niche market. If you're thinking to yourself right now, hey, I've got a niche and my niche is business owners, or my niche is doctors. Guess what? It's not. That's too broad. If I went out there and I said my niche is business owners, that doesn't make me different than anyone else. And to be honest, that's not a niche. That's somebody I would like to work with, or this is somebody I think I can do a lot of business with, but it's not a niche. You need to get specific. When you think about a niche, you need to think about 3 key areas. The 3 key areas first are demographic. What does your target client look like? What is their age? What is their basic characteristics of their demographic? Number 2 is psychographic. How do they think? What are they looking for? What do they want? And then third is geographic. Where are they located? Again, if you say I work with business owners and you're trying to get a referral from someone on what other business owners do you know, that is so broad. It is going to give people paralysis by essentially vagueness. There is no secure, this is exactly what I'm looking for. So when you think about your niche, narrow it down. If you're thinking, I work with dentists, okay, how big is their practice? How many employees do they have? Where are they located? How do they work on referral, or do they market? What specifically are you looking for? One of my good friends in Boston is doing phenomenally well with her niche. And if you went to her and you said, hey, what is your target market? What's your niche? What she would tell you is her niche and who she helps best are women who are divorced, age 48 to 63, within 15 miles of the Boston area. That's it. That's who I help best. It's very specific. It's divorced women between those ages within the Boston, 15 miles from Boston. If it's outside of that, that's not her target. We're going to talk about why it's so important to develop that level of specificity. But as you go through, think about that. Geographic, demographic, and psychographic. Who are they? Where do they live? And how do they think? Common misconceptions that we see out there are, boy, developing a niche takes a long time. To be honest, you probably already have one. You may not see it yet. Most of the advisors we work with who have very successful niche marketing campaigns, their niche found them. They didn't go out and find it. They started looking at their book and they noticed, wow, I have 2 or 3 clients that all work for this company, or all live in this area, or they're all part of this group. All you need is one client to start a niche. Take a look at your book and take a look at who are those clients that you really want to help. So let's dive into the steps. Okay, step 1, define your niche. Again, being specific. Doctors, not good enough. If I was back in town and in Minnesota where I live, if I wanted to define my niche, and if I was a financial advisor and somebody said to me, who's exactly do you want to work with? I would start by saying, I want to work with doctors who work in the Mayo Clinic, specifically in the pediatric urgent care facility. That dials down my target. Now, you're not saying no to everyone else when you develop a niche. What you're doing is you're making it easier for those people to say yes. So again, a lot of misconception is, gosh, if I get so specific, am I going to turn away other people? Absolutely not. What you're going to do is you're going to make it really, really easy for those specific people to say yes. And that's how you get a niche. Again, 6 different types of niches. It could be affinity, values, educational, experiential. You can see the psychological and technical. Those are all different areas of niches. It doesn't have to be business owners. It doesn't have to be specifically driven on what they do for a living or who they are. It could be, my niche is people that love to fish and have this type of, financial goals. It could be my niche is people who live in this gated community. It could be that my niche is the people that do work in this factory. It can be anything. It doesn't necessarily have to be what you've always heard is, well, my target market is, doctors or some other name, some other job that makes a lot of money. Get specific. And to be honest, you should probably have 3 to 5 different niches. It doesn't have to be just one. You can have a couple. So take a look at your book, what already exists, what niche has already found you, and start identifying specifically what your niche is. Step 2 is educate. So if you are going to stand out amongst everyone else that could be coming after this, because we know there's a lot of financial professionals out there, right? Whether it's advisors, insurance agents. If I think about my own, if I do this real quick as an exercise, if I pull out my wallet and I think about my current financial situation, I've got a bank account with my credit union. We've got a house loan. We've got a car loan. We've got a insurance agent for home, auto, boat. I've got a Visa, American Express, a MasterCard. I have a life insurance policy. I have my financial advisor. I just named 11 different financial institutions that I work with on a daily or weekly basis. All of those out there are probably targeting the same kind of people that you're looking for. So how do you stand out amongst this group of financial professionals that are out there? All right, being the same isn't different. So what you want to do is you want to figure out how to make yourself the expert. So if they work at a specific company, for example, one of the advisors we work with down in Texas, he has grown his client acquisition 909% over the last 3 years. Now, the numbers look big because he went from 2 to, I think he's actually this year on pace to acquire 28 new clients, maybe a little bit more than that. And the reason he did it is he noticed that he had a couple of his clients that worked in this factory as a part of Shell Oil. Now, Shell Oil had a relationship with an advisor already. So what he did is he came in and he said, I'm going to focus on just this factory. So he studied their benefits. He studied the options that they have available to them. He started looking at getting to know the factory itself. Who are the players, who's important? And he didn't go through and say, hey, I'd like to sit down with HR and talk to you. He started doing this all via word of mouth. He studied it. He told his clients, hey, I understand these benefits. Let's talk through them. Anyone else in your factory that you think would be a good fit, let them know. He started to, through referrals, anyone that gets hired there, they go to him, because in the factory, Shell will say, yep, here's our advisor. But the people right there on the front lines are saying, oh no, you got to go talk to Drew. Drew knows this stuff inside and out. So every new hire goes to him because he educated himself. If you're thinking about, again, doctors, dentists, what do they read? Are there blogs? Are there books? Are there important, magazines that these folks are digesting and reading to improve themselves? I know that there are books out there that are financial advising for doctors. Get a hold of those and get ahead of it. When you can start to give and solve the problems that these people have before they even knew they have them, you are going to be the expert. Join associations that get you in front of more of these people. Think about who are the other experts that you can talk to get more of an insight on how to help these folks. I've given a mention of my friend in Boston. So her target, again, is divorced women between those ages, and I always forget the exact ones, within 15 miles. So what she did is she went around within 15 miles of Boston and started talking to lawyers, couples therapists. She started talking to real estate agents to say, this is who I work with. This is who I help best. And guess who's referring to her as people are looking for new homes after a split, or they're talking to a therapist to get through this. She is getting the experts on her side and referring to them. So develop and educate yourself to become the expert. Step 3 is build your marketing plan. This can be as simple as creating your own content. If you've got a camera like this, you can create videos on YouTube around, hey, here are some tips if you're a dentist thinking about growing your practice, or hey, if you're someone that's looking at hiring, here are some tips. Start to put some content out there that starts to position you as the expert, so that as you meet more people, you can start providing some value, build your network, get in front of those centers of influence that can introduce you to more people that fit your target market, and start looking at events and conferences. Are there places that your target market gathers? Can you get a booth? Can you get a spot? Can you get a meet and greet to sponsor one of these? When you first develop exactly who you work with, you become the expert by doing your own education and trying to get ahead of the game, and then you start marketing, you are going to be in the position that when you start to have these conversations, people will not only look to you, but they will start to refer back and bring more people to you because you are the expert. By the time you get to step 3, it's all about how many people can you get in front of and how fast. When you're executing niche marketing, there's 3 things to be thinking about. Number 1 is, who is that target client, right? We talked about this in step 1. Step 2, or not step 2, part 2, the second section here is, what do you do in your practice that's different from anyone else? What does that experience look like? We're going to talk a little bit more about that in just a second, but then the final piece is that expertise. What's your differentiator? What is the thing that you know that other people don't know, either at all or as well, that makes you the expert that these people need to be talking to? Now, the last part of this is client experience. Should you give every client a great experience in your practice? Yes. If there are clients that are your target clients and in actuality are probably more valuable to your practice than others, should they get a better experience? Yes. So when you think about replicating your target client and your niche marketing, their experience should be different. If it's always the same for everyone, you're going to get your middle tier client over and over again. If you want to start attracting the kind of client that is your target, your experience needs to be the kind of experience that will attract those types of people. If you think about one of the companies that executes this idea of attraction incredibly well, think about Disney World, right? Disney World advertises, but I guarantee it doesn't need to. Their target market is families with kids, and that experience when you show up as a family with your kids is so right on point and so different from anywhere else you could go that's looking for that experience. They are attracting people nonstop. If they quit advertising, I guarantee they'd be just fine. As you think about your experience and what you provide for these target clients, it should be a top level experience. So think about that. What is it like when you bring in someone that is a part of your target market, and how is that different from everyone else? Again, give everyone a great experience, but those that are more valuable, those are the ones that you really want to replicate. If you had 150 of these people, you'd be on Easy Street. That experience should look different. Look, if you're wondering, okay, what do I do? This is a lot of great info, but how do I implement? I don't even know where to start. Reach out to Bernard, reach out to the IAD team, shoot me an email. We have workbooks that help you identify this. I have 2 workbooks that I can send you for free. Bernard's going to have them. He can send them to you. All they'll do is they'll help you identify a couple things. One, what is your niche? What exists right now in your book, and how do you start to think about that? Number 2, how do you build the kind of experience that's going to attract them? We've got these workbooks, these exercises to help. Reach out to Bernard, reach out to your team. They can get you these. And if you want to go a step further, set up some time to talk through it, because we've all got best practices that we can share with you. I mentioned this again, there is tons of support available, right? We've got the marketing workbook. We've got a marketing plan workbook. We even have, if you want to go a little bit further and you want to talk about really ramping up and taking your niche marketing to the next level, where you should be thinking about is client advisory boards, or as we also call them, client advocacy boards. One of the things that I see people fumble on is, boy, I'd really like to, I've got a couple of business owners that own this type of business that are this size in my book. Gosh, how do I get more like them? The secret is ask them. Develop a client advocacy board where you take a couple of your top clients that you want to replicate, buy them lunch, buy them dinner, bring them all in-house, and have a discussion that says, look, I'm looking for your advice. I need your help. I want to grow by replicating people like you. I have a series of questions I'd love to get your input on so that I can try and build my practice around more people like you. Would you help me do that? And guess what? If you get a handful of clients like that together, not only will they tell you exactly what they're looking for, they're going to start to take a little bit of ownership, not literally, but figuratively. They're going to have some skin in the game because they're giving you advice. So their likelihood to refer just went up. Their likelihood to spread the word about you just went up, and you're going to know exactly how to build this practice in a way that's going to attract those types of clients. We've got help on that too. So what are your next steps? I say it each time, take the first step. Something's not nothing. Again, all of these huge practices that we work with, guys and gals that are doing multiple millions of revenue, they all started as a sole practitioner. They all started doing a couple hundred in sales. And what they did differently then is they started changing what they were doing. They knew that old theory of what got you to where you are now is not going to get you to where you want to be. So whether that first step is defining your niche, look at your book, figure out what niches or what clients you want to replicate and what they have in common. Step one, take a look at that. Maybe instead it's, all right, I've got a couple of these niches, but I need to dial them in and figure out what experience am I giving them. that differentiates me from everyone else. Or maybe it's even building that expertise. Figure out what the next step is. If you want some support, you want some direction, reach out to Bernard, reach out to the IAD team, shoot me an email. We'll get you the resources. And if you want to talk more about it, we'll set up time to walk you through it. The key here is take action. You've been on with me now for about a half hour to 35 minutes. Don't make this a waste of your time. If you can start to do one or two things differently, this will have been worth it. Look, we're coming up in a couple of weeks. We've got on July 29th, we're going to be talking about wow moments. What a wow moment is something when a person is engaging with your practice and makes them say, wow. I like to say there's two types of moments that you can have when working with a business. You have wow moments and you have oh moments. A wow moment is when you walk into a hotel and you walk back past the pool and you see that it's, immaculately clean. There's a lot of space. It looks really cool and it looks really great. An oh moment is when you walk by and it's closed for cleaning, or there's dirty stuff everywhere. You smell the chlorine before you even get halfway towards the hallway of the pool. You want to build more wow moments in your practice and not oh moments. We're going to talk about that in 2 weeks, same time, same place.
Hey, Brandon, thanks again. Appreciate you jumping on with us, especially from your vacation.
Absolutely. Yeah, Jason, look.
But I'll kind of just help, wrap this up. Of course, we're here, the team's here, Bernard, Brandon, his team, they do a great job. They've brought us some terrific content, really beneficial information for you guys to help build your practice. This isn't insurance specific. It's not carrier product information. This is really general business knowledge that can take your business to that next level. So we appreciate what Dynamic Directions does, what Brandon does. We're excited they've partnered with us to bring this content. If you like what you've heard here, hopefully you've joined us on some of our other sessions. If not, we can send you that recording. We do have these events recorded on our YouTube channel. This one will probably be up later today, maybe at latest by Monday, if you want to revisit some of the information here. Some of the content and booklets that Brandon referred to, certainly reach out to us if you want more details there. And, let us know. Every one of you is a bit different. Your clients are different. Your goals are different. Your ways to get to your goals are different. Like it says, the things that got you here won't get you there. So let's talk about what that difference is. What's the difference maker to get you there to where your goals are, where you want to be, to see that growth. There's a whole host of opportunities out there, and that's what our team and Brandon's team are here to help deliver. So we appreciate you joining us today, and we look forward to the next event on the 29th. We'll be getting some invitations out. And again, if you need more details, you want to talk about how this information can be applied, or what else we can do to help each of you individually in your practices, please reach out to the team, and we'll provide that information. So I think we're all set, Brandon.
Awesome. Jason, thank you so much. Everyone, have a great weekend.
Again. Yeah.
Yeah, same to you. All right, talk to you all soon.
See you soon. Bye, everyone.
All right, bye-bye.